Welcome to this edition of the Forum. I'm your host, Sheila Evans. Here on the Forum, we highlight interesting and important achievements, programs, and events within our school system and community. Today's show is no exception. Things get underway with Susan Hitt. She is the Graduation Project lead teacher, and she will tell us about the need for Graduation Project judges and how you at home can get involved. Then we meet with Jennifer Butler, Stormwater Education Project Manager with the City of Wilmington. She will tell us all about stormwater services and educate us on the important infrastructure system. And finally, Betsy Foreman, 5th grade science teacher at Holly Tree Elementary, stops in the studio. She recently won the Burroughs Wellcome Fun Career Award for science and math teachers and gives us all the details about her award. It's another great edition of the Forum, so stick around. We'll get right back with our guest right after this short break.
Here we go. What? What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you.
The inherent right to work is one of the elemental privileges of a free people. Endowed, as our nation is, with abundant physical resources, and inspired as it should be to make those resources and opportunities available for the enjoyment of all, we approach reemployment with the real hope of finding a better answer than we have now.
Donate to Goodwill, where your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community.
I am joined by Susan Hitt. She's the English Language Arts lead teacher for New Hanover County Schools, and we are here to talk about Graduation Project. So Susan, tell us a little bit about what it is and any pertinent details you think we should know.
Okay, well, Graduation Project is something that all of our students in New Hanover County Public Schools have to take before they can graduate. It's a 18-week long course, and through that they have to complete a project that is comprised of 4 parts. So they write a research paper, and after they're done with the research paper, they work on a product of their choosing, followed by putting everything that they have done into a portfolio to display what they have learned. And then it ends with a final presentation to a panel of judges from the community.
Very good. And can you tell us more about the paper portion?
Yes, so the research paper is oftentimes what students are most hesitant about. It is writing a 6 to 8 page research paper, and it's a topic that they choose. So their topic does have to get approved by an advisory board, but it's really, the sky is the limit. Students have written papers on, saving,
There's been all kinds.
Yes.
One of the most interesting ones I sat in on was on Graduation Project.
Oh,
how about
yes.
that?
Oh, yes, they do that. Just the sky's the limit.
You're
they
right,
can do
you're
whatever
right.
that they want.
You know.
And then they spend 18 weeks on it, and they become an expert of sorts on that particular topic.
I learned a lot about making surfboards. Somebody built their own guitar. It's a lot of fun, and like you said, you kind of almost become an expert listening to them. Tell us about the expectations around that product.
So the product is what they begin after they have finished their research paper, and the product is an extenuation of what they have spent their time researching. So they have to work on their product for anywhere from 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours, and they can build things. They can build a car engine, they can build a computer, they can host a class, like a yoga class, so they can go out into the community and teach. They can put together a pamphlet of sorts to disseminate information that is important to the community. So the product is something that they determine is the best way to share what they have learned.
Right. I was just trying to think about what my kids did. One was a class, one was a product, and the other one was a eyeglasses drive.
Oh, that's so unique.
Very different.
Yes.
It's like, what do they do? Do you find that that's the most difficult part for some of these kids, or maybe the most enjoyable part?
I think it's the most enjoyable. I think, like I said, with a research paper, that's what they tend to dread the most. But the
Well,
product,
yeah.
that's, you know, they're choosing a topic that they are interested in, you know, building a surfboard or going out and teaching kayak lessons. And so that is what they have worked to do and to share. And so I think oftentimes that's what they get the most self-satisfaction from.
Okay, tell us a little more about the portfolio.
So portfolio is very simple. They just take everything that they have done throughout their time working on the project, they put it all together into a binder, and then they share it with the judges for their final presentation.
And that might include pictures of some of the
Yes.
stuff they've done, that kind of thing. So it
Pictures.
gives you a total.
It includes their research paper. It includes throughout the process they have to reflect, and so it includes their reflections. So you can kind of read and see how they dealt with the journey over
How
their
they
18
grew
weeks.
through it. One of the things I personally like about it that I think is a lost art is the thank you notes.
Yes.
That they're required. I like it. Kids just don't do that today. They text you thank you or whatever.
Yes.
And talk about the presentation a little bit more.
So the presentation is where the students are able to share what they have learned with a panel of judges from the community. And so they speak for 8 to 10 minutes and they give an overview of their research, and then they segue into their product, and then it ends with a reflection. And then after that, it opens up to the judges for the judges to ask them questions. You know, what was the part that you struggled with the most? What did you find most beneficial? And they have to kind of practice their impromptu skills.
Right. So obviously you need judges from the community.
Yes.
How would you describe that process to viewers who might be interested?
Well, we are always looking for judges, and anyone can judge. So there are no requirements. They can come in, they can register, and then each school has their own graduation project coordinator, and on the night of judging, that coordinator will get up and give very specific guidelines on how to judge, how to grade the students, kind of the guidelines. There's a rubric, but it's a great way. A lot of our students, their products give back to the community, and this is a great way for the community to kind of work back with our school system.
See some good things happening.
Exactly. There is nothing better. These students have worked so hard for so long, and they get so excited to share their knowledge with people and have questions asked, and they love to be able to just share everything that they are so passionate about, because they chose a topic that they're passionate about, and they want to share that with community members.
Now I know it's a tiny bit different at each school. What's the general time frame?
So it is 18 weeks. So it is either first semester.
But for the viewers that might be interested in judging, since we do need those community members.
Yes. So the first set of speeches begin later this month, at the end of April, and then they run through early May.
Okay.
And then in the fall semester, they are in December and then early January.
And what kind of time frame during the day? These are
After school, yes. So most of them begin at 4 o'clock and run until 5, 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Very good. So it's just a little bit of a commitment, maybe get
It
out
is,
early that day.
But food is served, snacks. The culinary arts students work with the program, and they make a great spread. And a lot of times the schools will display art that the students
Have
have
some
worked on. There's
music.
music. So it's a really great night.
It really is. And how do folks sign up to volunteer? How do they find out where it happens, what's best for them, that kind of thing?
So first off, they can reach out to each of the high schools. Each high school has their own coordinator. But beyond that, there's going to be a link on the New Hanover County homepage where they can go send in their information, and then I can disseminate it to each of the schools.
So pretty easy.
Yes, very easy.
And if they popped on the school's websites, maybe if they know they want to go to Hoggard or New Hanover, they can find out what the project dates are already. And
Absolutely.
Very good, very good. Well, Susan, thanks for sharing all that.
Thank you.
I hope I can do it again this year. It's always been a lot of fun.
We would love to have you.
Thank you. And we'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
First time I saw my house, I couldn't believe this had happened. Everything was moldy and disgusting. A lot of things have disappeared. Everything's getting bulldozed down. Our school was made into like a shelter. People around the parish didn't have transportation or couldn't really get out. They went there for last resort. Some people, they were very sick. Some people died in there. Since the storm, our family got a trailer. Classrooms are packed. One of my classes has 62 kids in it. I was very excited knowing that my school was opened again. It was like my second home. I love it there.
So, Malcolm, you do know that energy savers last 6 times longer than ordinary light bulbs.
This isn't my room. It's Baron Davis's.
Baron Davis, the basketball player? This is his room?
Yep.
interesting because we have Baron Davis right here. Baron, do you live here?
No.
I don't mean that, Baron Davis.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
I'm joined by Jennifer Butler. She's the Storm Education Program Manager for the City of Wilmington Stormwater Services. And we're here today to talk about watersheds and their importance and that kind of thing. Tell us about it.
So a watershed is basically an area of land that drains to a specific body of water, like a creek or a river or an ocean. And watersheds are basically determined by the lay of the land. Even though we seem flat in Wilmington, we do drain. And if you think about watersheds, for instance, Hewlett's Creek watershed. So if you're at Independence Mall and it rains and the water goes down the storm drain and it makes its way through the stormwater drainage system, it's eventually going to end up in Hewlett's Creek. And that's going to wash out into the intercoastal waterway without treatment. So whatever it can pick up on the ground,
oh Lord,
bacteria and pet waste, you know, fertilizer on the sidewalk, litter, people that have blown yard waste out into the street, anything that's on the ground can be picked up by stormwater and taken directly into our waterways without treatment. So I always tell people, even if you don't live near water, you can impact it. You can have a great impact on it by what you do on the land.
Interesting. So tell us about the Enviroscape model and the Enviroscape presentation.
So the Enviroscape model is a scaled down model of a watershed. So it has all the same land uses in a watershed: residential housing, commercial businesses, parking lots, construction, farmland, roads, rooftops, everything that is in a normal landscape, a real life landscape. So the Enviroscape presentation takes the model and teaches students visually about stormwater runoff, about watersheds, about water pollution, and solutions and stewardship, all through a speaker-led presentation.
And when do these presentations happen?
These happen throughout the year. We serve every 8th grade science class in New Hanover County Schools, so about 72 presentations, 2,200 students approximately, and we work with the schools very closely to set up those presentations.
Are the presentations limited to students?
We serve other groups when we have time, but 8th grade is always our priority. We are integrated into the 8th grade curriculum, so that is obviously our first priority. But
Makes sense.
We do this at UNCW. We've done it for adults because it really is a great learning tool, visual learning tool for people.
I was just looking at it when it was up while you were speaking. It's pretty cool. Who gives the presentations?
Well, the City of Wilmington organizes the entire program, and we work with New Hanover Soil and Water Conservation District and Cape Fear River Watch to deliver the presentations.
And how do you think the program benefits 8th grade students?
Well, a lot of ways, actually. First of all, we correlate with the 8th grade science curriculum for the study of the hydrosphere. So all the objectives for that: temperature, dissolved oxygen, bioindicators, studying river basins, watersheds, stewardship, many of those objectives we meet with the presentation. And really, above all, it gives the students a sense of stewardship, which they're going to be our watershed stewards of the future. They're going to make decisions about our air, our water, our other resources, and giving them the information now so that they can make informed decisions in the future is really important.
Very good. Do you find the students receptive to it?
I do.
Is it like new information for them? They know we recycle or et cetera, but they don't know why?
It is new information, and it's sort of surprising to me every time, even though it shouldn't be by now. But it is new information, and they really absorb it, because I also judge the science fair, and I see a lot of these related science fair projects after they've had these presentations.
So if you have that one 8th grader and that light bulb goes off and they're really interested, are there other like supplementary resources that they might be able to look into?
Well, we always encourage the 8th grade classes to go to Airlie Gardens, because Airlie Gardens is, the Enviroscape is sort of a pre-visit activity, and then they can go to Airlie Gardens and study the characteristics of Bradley Creek and macroinvertebrates and water quality testing. So the Enviroscape can serve as a pre or post-visit activity for reinforcing learning. But yeah, and I also work with students for if they want to do special projects, or in high school, their senior projects.
I was just going to say, do you get many calls for senior projects?
I get a lot of senior
graduation projects.
I've mentored a lot of students over the years.
Do you have students working on that now?
Not right now, actually. Not right now.
You had some in the fall?
Not this past year.
What was one of the more interesting projects they came up with? Anything you can bring to the top of your head?
Oh gosh, there have been so many, I can't think off the
Okay,
top of my
no
head.
worries, no worries. So you talked about primarily your first focus, of course, is 8th grade, because it's a standard course of study. Talk about the other groups that you might be able to offer them after you're done with 8th grade.
Well, we do UNCW quite a bit. We go to the environmental classes, the law classes, whatever.
The law classes?
Whoever we get invited to at UNCW. So it's just a really good introduction to what we may be talking about further in that class. And we have some teachers, professors that we see every semester because they want to have us back every semester for that.
Help me understand what impact it has in the law classes.
Well, environmental law, because the city's under a stormwater permit. We have a stormwater permit, which is part of the Clean Water Act mandate. So we are required to have a permit and do certain things on that permit, like education, like public outreach, teaching people about illicit discharge and how to prevent pollution through that. So this is along with that.
Are there fines associated with some stormwater issues that you ever cover in the group presentations?
We do. We actually have a pet waste ordinance. So if you do not clean up after your pet, or you're caught without a means to clean up after your pet, it can be a $250 fine.
Yikes.
The same thing for blowing yard waste into the street or a storm drain or a ditch. It can be a $250 fine. And then illicit discharges, they can go up significantly into the thousands of dollars depending on this.
What would an illicit discharge be? You don't have to be really graphic, but what would be,
let's say...
And it might not even be malicious, like something somebody doesn't know that they're doing.
No, in a lot of older buildings downtown, they might have floor drains that are actually piped to the storm drain. So if you pour something down that, it's going to end up in the storm drain, which is going to end up in our waterways.
Because a long time ago, there wasn't those types of codes, and they weren't in violation then.
Right. So we always try education first. We always want to educate, because people really do want to do the right thing.
Right.
So instead of a fine, did you know, we need to clean up after our pet because the bacteria pollutes our waterways and can close shellfish beds. So I think once people understand the reasoning behind things, they're more likely to comply.
Makes sense. Well, Jennifer, thanks for coming in and sharing that information. Good luck with the rest of the 8th graders for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Especially as it becomes spring.
Right.
But good information, and we'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
Hey guys, this is my teenage friend Rachel. She's cool.
Hey. Hey, could you watch the road?
Hey, could you watch the road?
Okay. All right, well, if we die in a car crash, I want to donate my eyes to my neighbor, Gary. He has a boat, and he sails all around the world. I would love to see that. I don't know if he actually needs eyes, but who would turn on a free pair of eyes, right? Who's that rich?
I am joined by Betsy Foreman, 5th grade science teacher at Holly Tree Elementary, and she is the recent recipient of the Burroughs Welcome Fun Career Award for Science and Math Teachers. Tell us about the Burroughs Welcome Fund. What is it?
The Burroughs Welcome Fund is an independent private foundation that is dedicating to supporting the biomedical science field through research. And they also support other educational and scientific activities, such as the career awards for math and science teachers.
So what's the purpose of the award for the teachers?
The purpose of the award is to help engage students' understanding of science and math. And they do this by recognizing different educators throughout the state of North Carolina who have really awakening a passion for the students in science and math.
Is it based on a certain project that you do, or?
They have another main goal for them is to improve the skills of the students so that they can become good global citizens.
Okay.
One thing that I love is that they recognize is that not every child out there is going to be a scientist or a mathematician. So they have a different meaning for the word STEM, where you and I in education know that to be science, technology,
engineering, and math.
Yep. And they call it the strategies that engage student minds.
Oh,
and so
nice.
This is done through inquiry-based, hands-on activities within the classroom.
Okay.
And this is to help the students gain knowledge and experience in solving problems so that as they get older, they can also learn how to independently solve their own problems and become a positive global citizen.
So what's the application process?
The application process is very detailed, and I had to cheat and write it down.
That's okay.
So as an elementary educator, you have to spend at least 30% of your time in the field of math or science.
Okay.
You have to get a letter of recommendation from your superintendent. So for us, that was Dr. Tim Markley and my principal, Ms. Holliday, and send in a resume. And then there was a 6-page paper that had to include 5 different points. It had to include my teaching philosophy and incorporate with that how the students learn and how they interact and use problem-solving skills in the classroom. I also had to outline how the award would impact not only my classroom but my school in the New Hanover County. And I also had to outline it's a 5-year award.
Oh.
So for the first year, what I would do for professional development and how I would bring that back to not only school and the county, and also had to include how I would use the funds for technology. So it was a lot in 6 pages.
Wow. So what would you like to purchase for the technology?
I would like to, the first year purchase, we're going to do 20 iPads and an iPad cart so that we'll be closer to having a full set of classroom iPads. And they will be predominantly used for the 5th grade team at Holly Tree, but it is going to be available for anybody in the school to check out as well.
Okay. And how is what you're doing going to impact the county?
I am going to be able to attend a lot of different professional development that I would not normally be able to attend because of the funds that they're giving.
Nice.
And so I'll be able to go to these different workshops and then bring stuff back. So I'll be bringing resources back. I'll be bringing new ideas back. I'll be bringing back new ideas for research-based programs. And then I'll be working with Ms. Ussery and Ms. Holliday to provide these free workshops for people in New Hanover County, or if people from other counties want to come, they certainly could. We're also working on where exactly to place things on the internet so that teachers, as we all know, are very busy. If they can't attend the workshop, they can have a link to go to possibly watch clips of the workshop or how to download the resources for themselves.
Very good. What professional opportunities are you most excited about?
The one that I'm primarily most excited about is going to the Steve Spangler workshop. He is the one that you see on Good Morning America and all those things, doing really cool science experiments. And in his workshops, he shows you a whole bunch of different things that you can do to increase motivation, engagement, but he also shows you how to use inexpensive items that you might find in your house or at the grocery store, which, as we all know, is key. I also want to attend some of the Google and Apple workshops that they have, just to learn about what new technology is out there and to see what I can possibly bring back to New Hanover County for us to use.
So will you have to travel for all those?
It will be a lot of traveling.
And that's all covered in this award?
And it will all be covered, so the expense of traveling, hotel, and attending the workshops and purchasing the supplies will all be covered. And then all of that stuff gets brought back to New Hanover County for us to use.
Very good, and to share amongst your colleagues. So you might be doing like a staff development day or something, huh?
Yeah, we'll be doing several things. I want to definitely get the input from the elementary teachers for science and math, what needs they have for professional development, because I definitely want to meet the needs that are out there, and then as well as bringing back new ideas as well.
And you were able to parlay some of your needs into this award? Is that fair to say?
I am predominantly a science teacher at Holly Tree Elementary in 5th grade. But I am also going to be looking at some different math things to bring back as well.
Gotcha. Science fair projects and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, we did science fair a little bit different at our school this year. We were actually the first one who implemented a digital science fair. So kind of going away from the trifold board and incorporating more of the 21st century skills that are needed to do, PowerPoints or Google Slides. And
so they did a PowerPoint?
They did, which is great because they're learning how to use the different programs that we use as adults, and then learning how to present with the technology as opposed to just standing in front of a trifold board and reading off of it. So they learned how to put the key points on the slides and then elaborate on their own in their own words.
And did a lot of this work take place at school?
Yes, this was all done at school.
Nice.
Every classroom, kindergarten through 5th grade, participates in science fair, but we created a science fair club for the digital, and so students were able to choose in 4th and 5th grade.
That's
if they
awesome.
wanted to participate in that extra step.
You don't have to deal with buying the trifold.
No.
Or somebody has the resources to make theirs look prettier than yours.
Right.
It's
and
all the same.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it definitely decreases the cost for parents because those boards and all the stuff gets very expensive.
All the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Betsy, congratulations. Exciting news for this county to have you out there collecting all this information.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
your time.
We'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
It's fun to sing,
Zippity zip zip zin zin zin.
dance, and play music every day.
Yeah, go for it.
Doing something artistic inspires creativity and helps you succeed in school and life.
Hooray!
Play music, paint, and dance together as a family.
Come on, team.
Blast off with the arts.
Blast off!
For 10 ways to add the arts into your life, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
We hope you've enjoyed our program today. If you would like to volunteer as a graduation project judge, please contact the graduation project coordinator at the school you would like to volunteer at. All the high schools can be found at the school system's main website at www.nhcs.net. Just click on the Schools tab at the top of the page. To learn more about the City of Wilmington's stormwater services, go to www.wilmingtonnc.gov/Enviroscape. Now, if you ever have any questions about the topics we discussed here on the show today, please call the school system's public relations office at 254-4180. I'm Sheila Evans, and thanks for joining me today.